This is a vintage brass hippo sculpture. It's kind of mid-century Hollywood Regency. It weighs quite a bit. It's probably about 4 pounds. I'm not sure if it's solid or not. I wasn't really able to tell. I think it might be hollow. But it's pretty good cast construction, and went to a few auctions in the last month or so, and I just picked this one up at auction, and I can't remember what I paid for it because I couldn't find the invoice for that auction, but I think it was around $15. And put this up best offer of 110. Somebody made me an offer of 65. I kicked back 75. I never heard back from them, and then the very same day somebody made an offer of 80, and I accepted that offer, and it was a different person. And off it goes to the United Kingdom. This is an old ephemera paper lot from Atlantic City. And it was from somebody's vacation back probably in the 40s or so is my guess. Definitely from an earlier period when things like diving horses were okay. This is Queen, the diving horse. And this is all from Steel Pier, and it's all kind of very roadside attraction kind of stuff. A lot of it not quite PC by today's standards. And it has this kind of really cool kind of chromolithograph book of all the attractions down there. Picked this up at auction. I probably paid $5 or $10 for it. I put it up on auction to sell it originally when I first got it, thinking that it might have some value. Didn't get any bids on it, so I gave up and put it up as a best offer, $100, and I took a best offer of $50 for it. I've had this probably for about 1.5 years now, so I'm kind of glad to see it gone. This is an antique, hand-painted Japanese Satsuma egg. It's got the little kind of raised bumps all over it, which are very kind of classical Satsuma. I don't know really how old this is or anything about it. There was no maker's mark on it. And I picked this up at a yard sale. Some lady had her, I think it was her mother's house, and she had the whole place open. You could just walk through and take whatever you wanted. And I probably got about 4 boxes out of her house for next to nothing. I mean, maybe she charged me $0.25 for this thing. And I think I paid like $19 for everything I got that day. I got a lot of really great stuff. And this here, I had it up for $35, and I took a best offer of $25. These are a lot of 3 vintage police department patches for a relatively famous police department, which I'm not going to name. And I originally had these on eBay, and I sold one of them, and then I got a Vero takedown from the police department and took them down. Or they took them down. eBay took them down on me. And I guess they were still up on Bonanza because somebody just came in and bought them. And they paid about $9 a piece, and they bought all 3 of them. So off they go. Here's some vintage hobbyist testing equipment. This is a Simpson 260 Series A multimeter. Now these are made nowadays as kind of digital pieces. They're way smaller than this. So anyone buying this is probably just getting it to collect and display on a shelf or as part of their kind of, you know, hobby, studio, whatever. Anyhow, this here I picked up at an auction for, I think it was $2 or $5. It's this walk around auction where you kind of choose stuff off of a table. This one here came with these leads. I don't think these are the original leads. I know a little bit about this kind of equipment because I do a little bit of electronic tinkering myself, but I wasn't really able to confirm that this one worked. And I did put a battery in it, and it has this kind of rattle to it. So I put it up as parts as is. I probably could have got a little bit more money if it was known working, but I sold this one here for $27. One of my buying rules is AWO, anything with owls. And this here is an owl belt buckle. And owl stuff just tends to sell really well. There's always somebody looking for it. This piece here took a little while because I kind of priced it a bit higher than everybody else's that was out there. This is just a pretty common belt buckle. I think it's from the 70s. It's got a maker's mark on it and some other information. It's made in the US. It's in good shape. And these were selling for about $20. I put mine up for $30. And I had somebody interested in it about a year ago. And they wanted me to hold it for them. But I said, no, just buy it when you're ready. And they never came back. And this here finally sold for $30. And I picked this up at a walk-around auction on the top of a bar at this kind of walk-around auction that takes place in this kind of old tavern. And I think I paid like $2 for it. These are a bunch of military patches that I picked up at an estate sale. Bought a large box for about 50 bucks and I've been selling that for a few years now. These I've had these listed probably for about 3 years now. $9.95 and nobody showed any interest in them, and finally they sold and they're going off to France. This is an older iPhone or iPod dock. It's got the older 30-pin connector there. Got a few little dings and some scuffs across the front there. Comes with the original power lead here. And this I've had for quite a while. I can't quite remember where I got it from. And this here sold for $22.95 on Bonanza. If you've been following my videos for a while, you know I love old Crocks and primitives. And this here is a fairly large 5-quart Crock. It's not terribly exciting, but it is old, and it's probably from the late 1800s, 1880s maybe, given its shape. No maker's mark, just got stamped with 5. It's glazed on the inside. Very tall, unusually tall. This is about 12 inches tall, about 9 inches across. And this here I picked up at an auction. It was just on the table with a bunch of other stuff, and I don't think I paid much for a bunch of things that night that this came along with. I think I probably paid about $10 to $15. I wasn't terribly excited by the Crock because I like to get ones that fetch a little bit more, but I put this one up for $130, and I took a best offer of $90 on it. And then they also paid $46.85 to ship this to Illinois. It might come out a little bit less than that, I'm not sure. It requires a lot of padding, and because it's about 12 inches, I need a box probably about 18 inches to give it enough space. Not looking forward to packing this up. It's Friday, and I was hoping for an easy day, but off it goes. These are 3 Canadian maple leaf patches. Got these in a tray lot with the Olympic patches. I've been selling some of those in other videos. Paid $10 for the lot, got about, I don't know, 60, 70 different patches. And not big money in these, but I lotted these ones up and sold them for $10. I buy a lot of jewelry at auctions, and I'm always happy when I come across a lot of cufflinks. And these here are just some simple kind of eagle feather tie cups, vintage. They're by Swank. And these ones here sold for, I think, $15. And there's not a ton of money in these, but they're really easy to list, they're really easy to ship, and they're really easy to store. So I don't mind just kind of buying a bunch of them, listing them up, and then just waiting for them to sell. This is an iPhone cord for the older 30-pin iPhone, iPods, and iPads. And this is one of those kind of annoying blinking cords. It's got these kind of LEDs all along the cord, and then when you plug it in, they kind of flash in a way that make it look like the energy is flowing from your power adapter to your phone. And had a handful of these. I got these out of a liquidation lot I purchased a long time ago. I think I've had this for about 2 to 3 years. And I had this lot had a bunch of electronic type stuff. Some of it broken, so I had to go through and test it. A lot of it I just kind of threw away if it didn't work. This one here I believe worked. Hopefully it will still. And this one here, it's been up for a couple years and it sold for $16. This little book is an antique book from the Industrial Revolution. It's from 1895. It is called Iron and Steel Manufacture, a textbook for beginners. So I guess if you were a beginning person working with iron and steel, this is the book you would get. It's in pretty good shape. It's got, you know, a little bit of old smell to it and some wear, lots of interesting photos, very much from the period. And this here I got in a lot of old books I purchased at auction for not much money. I was on a kind of a book buying spree for a little while early last year, 2016. And I haven't really bought any more since because I got kind of bored of them. And all the good ones kind of sold, and just been left with kind of these lower dollar ones. This one here sold for $20. These are a pair of Vandal shell cameo earrings. They got the kind of hand-carved shell cameos with a gold rope border around them. These are, I think they're 12 karat gold filled, and these are screwback style, and they are marked. I don't know if I can get it to show up on the camera, but they are marked on the back as what they are, and the maker, Vandal. Vandal, I come across every once in a while in older lots, and it tends to sell pretty well. I buy jewelry lots at auction, and This one here I put up for $50 and I took a best offer of $30, and they've been up for the better part of a year now, so I was happy to kind of sell these through because it's been a bit slow lately. This is a sterling silver spoon in a popular pattern called Fairfax. It's by Gorham, and if it focuses you'll see it's just a nice, elegant, simple pattern. It's relatively popular. People still can purchase this pattern new, I believe. And I bought this at auction, a whole set of it actually. It was about, I want to say about 70 or 80 pieces. There was some serving pieces in there. It wasn't the kind of complete set you could sell as a whole set and use as a dinner service, so I parted it out, as I often do with silver when I buy large sets. And I've been listing the pieces anywhere from about $30 up to about $100 and something. This big serving pieces typically will get about $150 for. And this here sold for $53 on Bonanza.